The twin suns of planet Varel slowly set behind the crystal mountains. Their orange glow lit the sky like fire. Below, in the center of the alien capital city, stood a massive ancient spaceship. It was huge black metal with glowing silver. Patterns shaped like a smooth triangle and bigger than 10 houses. It had no name, no history. The aliens simply called it the Forbidden Ship. For over 2,000 years, the ship had rested in silence. No one could open it. No machine, no power. No alien mind could make it move. The best pilots, strongest minds, and even warlords had failed to wake it. But today, something changed. A human named Raiden stood in front of the ship. He looked up at it, eyes sharp and full of curiosity. He wore a black pilot suit with a broken helmet on his belt. He wasn't tall or strong, but his presence felt different. Beside him stood Zira, a young alien girl with blue skin and bright silver eyes. She wore a long coat with symbols of her people's science clan. She crossed her arms and looked at Raiden with doubt. "You really think you can open it?" Zira asked, raising one eyebrow. Raiden smiled. "Why not?" "Can't hurt to try." Zira looked around nervously. The alien guards watched them from a distance. High above, members of the alien council stood on floating platforms, whispering to each other. "This is a sacred place," Zira said. "You're not even from this world," Raiden shrugged. "Exactly. Maybe that's why I'll succeed." Without waiting, he stepped forward and touched the surface of the ship. The metal was cold, then suddenly warm. Zira gasped. The glowing silver lines on the ship began to light up, one by one, spreading like rivers of light. A loud humming sound filled the air. The crowd grew silent. Even the guards took a step back. Raiden looked back at Zira, who was frozen in shock. What is happening?" she whispered. The ship's entrance slowly opened. A thin line appeared in the middle, then widened, revealing a glowing blue passage. It opened. "For you," Zira said, stepping closer. Raiden turned and entered. Inside, the ship was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were smooth and alive, glowing with soft light. Symbols floated in the air. The air smelled clean, but strange. Like old rain and metal. As Raiden walked deeper, he saw a pilot seat in the center of the control room. It was shaped like a circle, with no controls, just a floating ring above it. Zira followed slowly behind him. "No one has ever made it this far." Raiden sat in the seat. The ring above him lowered and stopped just above his head. Lights flickered. The whole room began to respond. Suddenly, the floor beneath the ship began to shake. Outside, people screamed and pointed as the forbidden ship began to float. The council members shouted. Guards raised their weapons. "The ship is moving," someone yelled. Zira's eyes widened. "You're flying it. It's listening to you." Raiden didn't move. He closed his eyes for a second and felt something in his mind, images, sounds, whispers. A voice inside the ship spoke in a soft language he didn't understand, but somehow felt. "The ship is old. Very old," he said quietly. "It's not just a machine, it's alive." Zira looked at him like she was seeing him for the first time. "Who are you?" Raiden opened his eyes and looked at her. "I don't know, but I think I'm supposed to be here." Outside, alarms began to ring. Fighters flew into the sky, surrounding the ship. "Raiden!" Zira called. "The council, they're going to shoot you down." Raiden placed his hand on a glowing panel. "Not if I leave first." With a sudden flash, the ship lifted higher and turned its nose to the sky. The alien pilots chased him, but the forbidden ship moved too fast. In seconds, it vanished into the stars, leaving behind only light and silence. Zira stood alone at the edge of the ship's platform, staring at the empty sky. Her heart beat fast that no one else had ever flown the forbidden ship. Only a human had done it. And now, the ancient mystery had returned. Asterisk darkness floated across the stars like a silent ocean dot in the middle of that black sea. A silver light cut through. Space. It was the forbidden ship, now awake after 2,000 years. Inside, Raiden sat in the pilot seat, surrounded by soft blue lights and floating symbols. His hands rested on the sides of the chair, but he wasn't steering. The ship flew itself, and it felt like it knew where to go. He closed his eyes and saw flashes in his mind. A tall human in silver armor. A war above a burning planet. An alien queen holding a small human child. Then he opened his eyes. His heart raced. Why am I seeing this? He whispered to himself. This can't be my memory. Meanwhile, back on Varel, Zira faced the angry council. The alien leaders floated above her on crystal chairs, their faces cold and silent. Behind them, a giant screen showed the last image of the forbidden ship vanishing into the sky with a human inside. You helped him, one counselor growled. Zira raised her voice. He didn't steal it. The ship chose him. Lies. Another one snapped. He's a danger, a thief, a trickster from a primitive world. Zira stepped forward. No, he's something else. Something we don't understand. The room fell silent. Even the council knew she might be right, but fear was stronger than reason. They ordered, find the human. Bring back the ship, or destroy it. Back in space, the forbidden ship slowed down and stopped near a small blue planet. Not Earth, but something older. A dead world. Gray clouds swirled above broken towers. The ship slowly descended. Raiden stepped outside. His boots touched the dusty ground. The air was thin but breathable. He felt like he had been here before. The ship's lights guided him toward an old stone building. Inside, he found a glowing memory core, shaped like a crystal orb. As he touched it, the orb lit up and a hologram appeared. An old human face spoke. If you're seeing this, it means one of us has returned. Raiden's eyes widened. We're here, the voice continued. Long ago. We helped build this galaxy's peace. But then, something dark came. A weapon. We had to stop it. The hologram faded and the orb darkened. Zira, back on the council ship, watched old records in secret. She found something strange, a hidden genetic pattern in Raiden's blood. Something ancient, not seen in any alien or known human. What are you? She whispered. Then an alarm beeped. The forbidden ship had sent a signal. A star map glowing red. A forgotten planet marked with an X. She stared at it. That's where the old war began. She had a choice. Follow the council's orders, or follow the truth. She chose truth. In space, Raiden stood alone in the ruins. The wind blew softly. The ground below his feet began to tremble. He looked up and saw something far in the distance. A shape in the sky. A shadow moving. Something else had woken up. The stars above blinked like ancient eyes. Watching, Raiden stood alone in the ruins of a lost world, with dust in the air and silence all around him. The ship waited behind him, blowing softly like it knew this place once too. But something else was here now. A low hum rolled through the ground. Not from the ship, not from the wind. From below, Raiden took a step back. Suddenly, the stone floor cracked. From the cracks, strange light leaked out, golden and alive. The memory crystal in his hand pulsed once. Then again. It wasn't just a message. It was a key. The stone under his feet opened like petals. A stairway revealed itself, leading deep underground. The air smelled of metal and something older. Like forgotten time, Raiden moved slowly, the ship's small drone floating behind him, lighting the way. Down below, he entered a chamber filled with holograms, frozen images of humans and aliens, side by side, working on strange machines. Some were smiling. Some were afraid. In the center, one giant image showed a weapon, a tower floating in space, surrounded by rings of fire. Beneath it were just two words: Project Silence. Raiden touched the image and another memory played. A woman's voice, calm but tired. We failed to destroy the weapon. So we locked it away. We used the forbidden ship to hide the map. Only someone with old blood could return. Raiden stepped back. Old blood. They meant me. He sat on a stone block, breathing heavily. Why me? I'm just a pilot. I didn't ask for any of this. But deep down, a feeling rose in his chest. A calling far away. Zyra's ship approached. She had escaped the Council's watch, flying alone. Her fingers trembled on the controls. This wasn't just about science anymore. It was about truth. As her ship neared Raiden's location, her scanner flashed an energy reading, one that matched only one other thing in the galaxy, the forbidden ship. It's real, she whispered. Project Silence is real. Suddenly, her ship was hit. Boom. She screamed as sparks flew and alarms beeped. Through the window, she saw two alien fighters chasing her. Council agents. They were here to silence her. Raiden, hearing the sound of battle above, rushed to the surface. The forbidden ship's lights flashed like a heartbeat. It had already detected Zyra's ship. He climbed aboard, sat in the pilot's seat and yelled, "Come on, help me!" The ship didn't wait. With a loud hum, it launched into the sky like a spear of light. Raiden reached the fight in seconds. Zyra's ship was spinning, damaged, smoking. The alien fighters turned toward Raiden's ship, but he was faster. He didn't need to steer. The ship thought faster than him. It looped, dodged, and fired two silent energy blasts, clean and precise. Both fighters exploded in blue fire. Raiden caught Zyra's falling ship in a gravity field and pulled it to safety. She crawled out, helmet cracked, eyes wide. You came for me?" she asked, surprised. Rayd nodded. "You helped me. Now we help each other." Zyra climbed aboard his ship, coughing. "Raiden, I found something. Something dangerous." He looked at her. "Me too." They stood in silence. Then Zyra pulled up the star map from her tablet. A red planet blinked in the corner of the galaxy. "Project Silence was never destroyed," she said. "It was locked on this planet." Raiden checked the forbidden ship's path. It was already going there. He looked out at the stars and whispered, "What am I walking into?" Zyra answered softly, "Not just a war. A secret older than your world." They both stood in front of the ship's glowing map, one human, one alien, bound by a ship that belonged to neither, flying toward a forgotten weapon that could destroy both their worlds, and far away. The planet blinked. Like an eye. Opening. Asterisk space had never felt this quiet. Raiden stood at the front of the forbidden ship, staring out into the dark. Stars blinked far away like cold lanterns. No planets. No light. No signal. Just blackness, deep and endless. He looked over at Zyra, who was studying the map. "This part of space doesn't exist on our records," she said softly. Raiden raised an eyebrow. "Then why are we here?" "The ship brought us," Zyra answered. "And I think it remembers something we don't." The ship drifted toward a strange blue light ahead, a shattered planet, broken into rings of stone and fire. It looked like it had been ripped apart. Zyra whispered, "This was once called Valos, a world of scientists. They tried to stop Project Silence." Raiden frowned. "What happened?" Zyra didn't answer. She only pointed to the rings. They failed. As the ship entered the orbit of the dead planet, something changed. The walls of the ship turned dark. The glowing lights faded into cold blue. Strange whispers filled the air, but not from the speakers. From inside their heads, Raiden clutched his skull. "Do you hear that?" Zyra nodded slowly. "Memories from the ship. From long ago." They weren't alone anymore. Suddenly, a beacon lit up from below. The ship responded instantly, changing course without Raiden's touch. It descended into the planet's broken surface. where giant metal towers still stood among the ruins. One tower glowed with a weak red light. Zira scanned it. That's a human signal. Raiden's breath caught in his throat. A human? Here? The ship landed without a sound. They stepped out into the ruins, dust, ash, broken machines. But everything was silent. Dead dot, except for one thing. A large stone door stood in the center. Glowing faintly, Raiden touched it. It opened. Inside. They found a hidden lab. And in the center, a holographic recording frozen in time. Raiden pressed the button. A figure appeared, human, male, in a torn uniform. His voice crackled through time. We built the weapon, then tried to unbuild it. But it was too late. One spark, one wrong pilot, and it would awake. So we erased it, buried the maps, hid the ship, and we placed a lock on it. A human key. The recording ended. Zira turned to Raiden, pale. It's you. You're the key. Suddenly, the ground shook. A siren lit up in the ruins, red, spinning. Loud. The ship's voice echoed in Raiden's mind. Warning. Project silent signal detected. System waking. Raiden ran back to the ship with Zira. What did we do? Zira checked her device. We didn't activate anything. It was already waking. We just got close. The forbidden ship took off and raced into orbit. But the damage was done. Far in the distance, a new planet began to glow dark red, with strange rings forming around it. Something beneath its surface was moving. Inside the ship, Zira watched in horror. That's it. That's where they locked the weapon. Raiden stared at the screen. That's not a weapon. It's alive. Zira turned toward him. The ancient humans didn't build a bomb, Raiden. They built a prison. Raiden's hands trembled. And now the prisoner is waking up. The ship's lights flickered. A signal played through the speakers. It wasn't words. It was a voice screaming, but not in pain. In rage. Something ancient, something powerful, something forgotten by both humans and aliens, was no longer sleeping. Asterisk. It began with a pulse, not seen, but felt. Across distant star systems, machines stopped working. Space stations flickered. Ancient computers turned on after thousands of years, without reason, without command. And far away, deep below a red planet's surface, something opened its eyes. Raiden watched from the forbidden ship's window as the planet began to change. It had no name on any map. Just an old code, E17 Prime, a forgotten world. A graveyard of metal and silence. Now, glowing cracks spread across its surface, like burning veins. It's waking up, Zira whispered, barely breathing. The prison is breaking. Raiden didn't speak. He stared at the map, then at his reflection in the glass. Why me? He finally asked. Why does this thing react to me? Zira looked down. Because your DNA isn't just human, it's hybrid. Raiden froze. What do you mean? She answered softly. You have traces of something older, alien genes. Hidden. For generations. Maybe from the first contact. Or something even older. Back on Virel, the alien council watched the same red planet with cold fear. The skies above their city turned dark. Birds vanished. The air felt heavy. One counselor stood. The weapon is active. Because of him. Another added, the forbidden ship has chosen a human. This cannot be allowed. They sent a command across the galaxy. Destroy the ship. Eliminate the pilot. Seal the planet. Zira received the message. They've sent warships, she said. Thousands, Raiden tightened his fists. Let them come. But I'm not running. Zira turned to him, eyes sharp. Then what will you do? Raiden stepped toward the ship's control ring. I'll go to the planet. I'll end this. The forbidden ship flew fast through asteroid fields and nebula storms. It reached E17 Prime before the Council's fleet. As it entered the atmosphere, the planet screamed. Yes, screamed. Not a sound in air, but a voice in their minds. Rage, hunger, pain. Raiden fell to his knees, his hands over his ears. Zira cried out, "It's not a machine, it's alive." Beneath the planet's surface, Project Silence began to rise, a tower of black stone and silver roots, bigger than any city. It unfolded like a flower blooming in reverse. At the top, a glowing core, red and gold, beating like a heart. Raiden landed the ship near the tower's base. Smoke filled the sky. The ground cracked under their feet. He turned to Zira. "I have to go alone." She grabbed his arm. "No, that thing will kill you." He looked at her calmly. "It's calling me, not you." A long silence passed. Then, Zira nodded, tears in her eyes. Raiden stepped out, the wind pushing against him. Dust, heat, lightning in the clouds. He walked to the entrance of the tower. It opened before him like it recognized him. Inside, the walls pulsed with life. Screens lit up with images from the past, humans, aliens, war, blood, fire. And in every scene, the same ship, the same tower, and a face that looked just like Raiden. He reached the core. A platform floated above a sea of molten metal. In the center, a glowing orb, full of energy, alive. The voice returned inside his skull. "You are the echo, you are the gate, you are the mistake, and the key." Raiden stepped forward. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew. He wasn't just a pilot. He wasn't just human. He was a link between what was and what might come. High above, the alien warships entered orbit, lasers armed. Missiles locked. Zira screamed into her mic, "Don't fire. He's inside." But they didn't care. They fired. Raiden didn't feel the explosion. Not at first. When the alien warships fired, the sky above the red planet turned white. Missiles rained down like falling stars. The tower that held the core of Project Silence was swallowed by flame. But deep inside the tower, Raiden still stood, because the tower wasn't made of stone or metal. It was made of memory. Everything around him turned black. Not darkness, but a space between spaces. He floated now. No gravity. No sound, only voices. You were never meant to wake it. You are not the first. You are the last chance. A soft golden light appeared. It formed into a glowing figure, tall, armored, and human. Raiden's eyes widened. "That's me," the figure spoke. "I am you. From a time before Earth forgot us." Raiden's heartbeat slowed. His thoughts sharpened. "Are you saying I'm a copy?" The figure shook its head. "You are a memory made flesh, a spark passed down through blood and time. You carry the legacy of the first Skywalkers." Suddenly, the scene shifted. Raiden now stood in the middle of a giant battlefield from long ago, humans and aliens fighting side by side against something not alive, but powerful. In the sky above them, a black sphere floated. Project Silence. When it was a weapon, the human commander from the past yelled, "If we can't destroy it, we'll trap it." They used the forbidden ship as the final key, locking the weapon away at the cost of thousands of lives. And then, silence. Raiden gasped as the vision ended. He was back in the tower, on the edge of the glowing core. The ship's voice echoed. In his mind again, the entity is awake. Consciousness unstable. Defense required. Raiden understood now. The weapon wasn't just a weapon. It was a prison for something ancient. A being made of pure thought. A creature that feeds on fear, war, and memory. And now, it had touched Raiden's mind. Zira, watching from orbit, cried out as her screens turned red. Double quotes. No. No. He's still alive. Stop firing. But the warships didn't listen. They charged again. Inside the tower, Raiden made his choice. "I'm the key," he whispered. "Then I'll lock it again." He stepped into the beam of the core. Instantly, light poured through his body. The pain was sharp, like being burned and frozen at once. But in his mind, he was still calm. He saw Earth. He saw his mother. He saw stars being born. He saw Zira. And then silence. Outside, the tower pulsed. The light from the core exploded outward, but not in destruction. It wrapped around the weapon, the planet, the orbiting ships. And then everything stopped. The Forbiddens ship floated upward, carrying Raiden's body, unconscious but alive. His chest still moved. Barely, Zira rushed to the docking bay, pulled him into her arms. You did it, she whispered, holding back tears. You're not just human, you're hope. The alien council watched in silence. The war was over. Before it started, the weapon was sealed. And the only one who could do it was the one they feared most. In the silence of orbit, the stars held their breath. The war never came, the weapon never fired, and the man who stopped it, Raiden, lay still in the heart of the Forbidden ship. Eyes closed, body surrounded by soft golden light. Machines hummed. Softly, they were healing him, piece by piece. Zira sat beside him, her hand on his. Her voice broke the silence. You saved billions, she whispered. And no one will believe you were just a pilot. Outside the ship, the red planet no longer glowed. Its rage had been sealed again, deep beneath its surface. But it wasn't destroyed, just asleep. The ancient prison was rebuilt, this time with a stronger lock. Not made of walls, but of memory, choice, and sacrifice. Raiden had left something behind in that core. A part of his spirit, a message, a warning. Weapons built from fear will always wake again. Only memory can keep them buried. Days passed. Raiden finally opened his eyes. He didn't speak at first. He just looked around the ship, then at Zira. His first word was, Earth? Zira smiled through tears. You're going home. But Earth didn't know what had happened. The humans had no idea that one of their own had saved entire civilizations from an ancient force buried before history began. Raiden didn't care. He didn't need medals. He had seen things no human ever had. He had touched the past. He had heard voices from before time. He had become something more. As the ship prepared to leave alien space, Zira joined him at the window. You know, she said quietly, the ship will only answer to you now. Raiden nodded. I think it always did. She smiled sadly. This is goodbye, isn't it? Raiden looked at her, then handed her something. A small crystal softly glowing. Not goodbye, he said. Just until. The Forbidden ship turned slowly, engines glowing like twin stars. Zira stepped back as it lifted, silent and smooth. As it entered deep space, the stars seemed to lean closer, as if watching its path. As if they remembered him. Far across the galaxy, children would one day speak of a nameless human who flew the ship no one else could, who stopped the sky from burning, who carried ancient fire in his blood. But most would say it was just a story. Myth. A tale told by starlight. And yet somewhere in the dark, if you listened closely, you could still hear the hum of a ship moving faster than light, whispering through the void. Still flying, still watching, still remembering. The final flight had begun.